Good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded for anybody that might be new here. What we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself and bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's here in the chat and then we'll get into this. Mr. Max Voltage. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. We have Lawnmower Man, Rarails, good, Raralis, sorry. Good to see you, buddy. We have Crypto Craig, Magic Lucky, Crypto Addict, Green Hash. Good morning, sir. Mr. Crypto KJ, good to see you. Black Hat Team, Zarkov, Dan R, breaking the water guns out. You know it. You know it. It's actually gonna be wicked hot today. Wicked hot. Isn't that an East Coast thing, saying wicked? Let's see who else is here. Cyber Moss, Nick K, what's up, man? Everybody else that may have missed, I apologize. Let's get into it. All right, BTC looking like 69,895 bucks. Look at that. Perfect. We got Ethereum at 3,700 bucks, holding strong. Everything's in the red or light red today, a little bit, right? And to be honest, it's still up way, well, up a lot. Let's say a lot, right? Let's see, Solana 180 bucks, just about 179. We got Pepe. Look at this. Yusuf in the chat has been saying Pepe is gonna explode. You know what, he wasn't wrong. he was not wrong. We got Caspa at almost 14 cents. A Duke into that. Holy crap, I didn't realize that was actually that high. Nice. Are we gonna get a breakout on Caspa? That's awesome. Hell yeah. We got XRP at 53 cents, AVAX at 40 bucks, ETC at $30. Look at this, man. Guys, we have so much more room to grow, it's not even funny. If the political parties flip their mind on crypto, this could get wild. Absolutely wild. What's up, Yusuf? Good to see you, buddy. You weren't wrong. Look at that. Look at this, dude. 20%. I hope you got some big bags of Pepe, man. Good for you. I got out. I was a puss. I only took a 4x and I left. That was it. All right, moving on to crypto bubbles. Let's see what's the biggest earner of the day. It looks to be Gala at 15.4%, 4 cents, a little bit over 4.5 cents, and Pepe is up 14%. Pretty awesome. We have Dog with Hat up 4.1%, Renders up 3.3 at $11.46. Hell yeah. Damn, Renders killing it too. We have Beam down 7.8% to 2 cents, almost well, it's just under 3 cents, I would say. Again, ETC pulling back about 5% from yesterday. We have Caspa up 4.2% on the day. Man, this is great. Caspa's looking really good. Hey Max, I don't want to burst your bubble, but seeing that? Litecoin's down 2.8%, 86 bucks, but you know what, again, everything's got a long ways to go here. Ethereum's down 2% today, but again, the is it tomorrow? Yeah, 23rd. Tomorrow is the day that we're gonna see either a yay or a nay from this Ethereum ETF. I wonder what's gonna happen here. All right, real quick flashbang. Let's see over here. Still in the extreme greed, 76 on the fear and greed index. Now you guys know over 75 is where I really start paying attention. Are we going to have some sort of pullback? And as you can see, like yesterday, right, was extreme greed. We had a little bit of a pullback from yesterday, right? We're at 71,000 when we started the stream yesterday, and we held 70k about pretty much all day yesterday, but now we're down to 69. So typically you're going to see some sort of cool off, right? And yeah, that's kind of how I gauge this thing, but either way, to each his own. Do what you will. All right, over here in CoinGecko, let's see what the trending coins are. Looks like Beldex, 3 cents, 3.5 cents, down 3.6% today. We have Peng, this penguin token, or PENG, whatever the hell you call it, is 27 cents, down 14.8%. Terrible. Pepe is up 16.1%. Killing it. All right, Bitcoin, top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. Bitcoin at a $1.3 trillion market cap in first place. Then we got Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, Lido Staked Ether, USDC, XRP, Dogecoin, and Toncoin in 10th place at a $21.8 billion market cap. We have Cardano just under that is 17 billion in 11th place. I think Cardano's doing pretty good actually. 48 cents. It was at 50 cents yesterday. Let's see. Scroll down a little bit. Again, Litecoin's in 22nd place. Everything's looking really good, guys. Really good. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in the chat. Again, Ethereum Classic I think is going to do very well just because the catalyst of the Ethereum ETF. New people, dumb money coming in, don't understand the difference. They're going to purchase Ethereum Classic because it's cheaper and they get more coin. That's what I did personally when I first started, and it paid off, but it's weird. It's weird because you really don't understand the difference. What a quick turnaround. What are you talking about, Patrick Murphy? Trump called acting Pepe now. Oh, accepting Pepe now. Mazarkov, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm actually Trump's custodian. You can send me your BTL. You're just messing around. All right, I'm like, what are you talking about? Trump, did he mention Pepe? That'd be funny if he did, and that would be a reason as to why it's pumping. It makes sense, actually. It would make sense. Oh, let's see. Am I gonna fight Red Panda? No. Panda would crumble. I love Panda. I love him too much. I love him too much. I'm just kidding. I would never. I don't fight for clout. That is not fun. I don't fight anyways. It's stupid. It makes no sense to me. Anyways, all right, let's scroll through this whole thing. Dog with Hat in 49th place. They're still at a $2.9 billion market cap. That's crazy. It's still crazy to me that they're actually still holding that much of a market cap. Does anybody hold Dog with Hat? Anybody? Let me know in the chat. Actually, I don't hold any at all. I've never got into it. It's too expensive for a meme coin. $2.91 for a meme coin. Like, nah, not for me. And I don't know how much higher it could actually go other than that. BitTensor is at 431 bucks, $2.9 billion market cap as well. I heard a lot of good things about this. I don't know. What do you guys think about BitTensor over here? Man, I wish I got in down here. Jeez. 2023 into October 2023. Man, this thing's taking a run up, huh? Jesus. Wow, it's all-time high. 757 bucks. It's down 50%, almost 43%. That's crazy. Man, I wonder if this is a good buy. I gotta do some more research into that. All right, let's move on to the mining segment of things. Let's see what we got over here on okay, or not. I'm using an outdated version apparently. All right, mine the ASIC. Let's see. You guys know I like to timestamp this stuff. I want to see what we're looking like for prices over here. Look at this KS5 Pro 21 terahash unit. Look at that. It's making $94.89 a day. Actually, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. Not really trying to plug or chill for myself at all, but I want to see what this KS5 is going for. So over here, terahashes.com. All these prices, by the way, are all in prices as far as I know. The Antminer S5 is going KS5 is going for 31,000 still. Crazy. 31,750 bucks. Again, this is all China pricing, right? This isn't these sites, like, yeah, they are resellers that make a little bit, but realistically they go off of whatever the people over in China actually you know, decide to sell these units for. So 31,000 this thing's still going for. What? Wait, hold on. Am I missing something? KS5 Pro, what is happening? KS5 Pro, this can't be right. Does he need to update this? Or maybe this is just way off. This has got to be way off. 12,000, what's happening? Yeah, 31k is way too high. It's not again, it has nothing to do with their site, but I swear I thought there was a sale on these things. I swear to God. Oh, what's this one? Oh, hold on, he's got two different things here. 21 terahash pre-order August batch. Oh, 11/9. Oh, so it's a pre-order for August. That's what I saw. Okay, that's what I saw. It's the pre-order. That's why I'm like, wait a minute, I swear to God I thought these things were going for like 12k. all right, that makes sense. So if you guys are interested in ordering one of these, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't recommend it, and it has nothing to do with anywhere you're gonna order it from. It's just, I don't know. We're gonna see the emission schedule, and then on top of that, who knows if these things are, if we're gonna get new units with higher hash rate, you know what I mean? So anyways, 94 bucks a day on the KS5 Pro. If you guys are interested in units, go check out terahashes.com. You guys can actually save some money with CCXD if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know how much it is, to be honest. We have the KS5 Pro 20 terahash unit over here, $90.37 a day. Let's see, we got the KS5L 12 terahash unit making $50.38. With the BM KS Max 11 terahash unit making $43, pretty much even. The Windminer K9 $42.33. We got look at this. Wasn't there another Antminer? Oh, right there. Weird. All right, the AL box splitting up the two Bitmain KS3s over here. 360 gigahash unit at 180 watts, making $36.65 a day. What is a lithium looking like? Ooh. Lithium. $1.81. Man, I really hope lithium comes back, because these box miners have really been killing this. They've really been holding it down. And to be honest, like, what happens if another unit comes out? This thing's gonna be right in the shitter, unfortunately. All right, we have the Ice River KS3 8 terahash unit making 31 bucks a day. That's still kind of bad. KS3M 6 terahash unit making $21 a day. Still pretty bad. All right, we got the Antminer L7 9050 over here. You know, I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them. Paying 10 cents kilowatt hour or 9.5. I should probably ask him, because I say this wrong every single day. I think it's 9.5 if I'm not mistaken, but $12.65 on a 3-year-old machine. This thing's killing it still. Super pumped about this machine. So if you guys get a good deal on an L7, if anybody's trying to like fire sale one, I recommend it. Just my opinion. Do what you will. It's your money, not mine. Ice River KS2 2 terahash unit making $6.88 a day. Man, bruh, terrible, absolutely terrible. Gold Shell KA box. This is the 1.18 terahash unit, 400 watts. This thing's making $4.80 a day. Again, at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. We have the KS1 1 terahash unit making $3.44. That's really bad. It's really bad. And the KS0 Pro, I don't even want to look at it, but at the same time, it's more efficient if you have 5 of these versus the KS1 like I have. 200 gigahash units over here making 74 cents a day. You guys know I'm running mine on solar, so roughly actually, hold on, if we have no electric, what does this go for? We have free electricity. Let's just see. Free electricity. Where's the KS0? I'm gonna have to search this, ain't I? Okay, we're gonna go back to the top. I'm just gonna type in KS0. So I'm making just about $1 a day in the solar trailer on these things. Ooh, that's sick, actually. Hell yeah, that's dope. I'll take that all day, all day. All right, we're gonna put this back to 10 cents, and then we're gonna refresh. All right, so I think that's really it. Is there anything else you guys want to look at? Oh, what's the X16P? Sorry, X16Q. I got mine running right here next to me. Mining ETC and ZIL is most profitable right now. $4.81. Look at that. Look at that. Nice. Even at, hold on, $4.81. What is ETHW taking a shit? Because this thing was like $8 the other day. What's ETHW looking like? A little bit of a dump on. No, actually, no, it's still pretty good. Oh, you know what? It's probably more difficult now. It's probably a lot more people turned on. Interesting. That's really weird. 10 cents kilowatt hour. Huh. I might have to figure out what I'm gonna do there. Interesting, because I got mine mining ETHW over to unmineable for Caspa, so that kind of sucks. All right, anyways, move on to GPUs. Let's see what we got over here. 4090, most profitable mining Ironfish and Caspa Classic. Look at that, in Ironfish and Pirate. Nice. We have the 170HX mining Ironfish straight. Then we have Cortex here, the 4080 mining on the 4080, and then we have Pepe Pow. That's still a thing. Still Pepe Pow. Weird. I didn't realize that was still a thing. All right, let's see. 6800 XT Ravencoin seems to be the top of the charts there. We have Conflux, Caspa Classic, and Ergo in Caspa Classic on the 3080 Ti as well as the 3080. Interesting. Ravencoin. How's Ravencoin doing? Ravencoin's popping up a lot. Ravencoin. 3 cents, a little over 3 cents. Not too bad. Could be worse. A little bit of a pump in the last couple of days. Not much, but better than nothing, I guess. We have Eternity on the 3070, and then Conflux and Caspa Classic. What is Caspa Classic looking like? Let's see. Does that not pop up like that? I gotta type it in like that. Oh, I do. Oh, look at that. Wow, Caspa Classic's having a pump, huh? 7 day. I lied. What? Gross. What? How is it profitable like that? Wait, fully diluted, it's $26,000, $27,000.
Bruh.
What? Is anybody into that? Let me know in the chat. All right. Yeah, I mean, you guys have a plethora of coins, I guess, to choose through today. It's yeah, I mean, Ironfish is still pretty much top of the charts on that. All right, new coins. See, we got same stuff as yesterday. You got that few Bitcoin, this Ragu coin, or Rogu, however the hell you're supposed to say it, and then Tusk. Nice, nice, nice. Events calendar. Let's see. We have Ethereum Classic going through a halving in 8 days. Sorry, it's a fifth inning.
Perfect.
Fifth inning. 2.56 to 2.048. Pyron just went through theirs about 17 hours ago. So shout out to Pyron. How's Pyron doing actually? Let's just double check that. PYI up 0.45%. Nice. 24 hours. So got a little bit of a run up into it. Floating along. Iron's doing pretty good. Hopefully we get some price appreciation. That would be sick. That would be sick. All right, cool. Yeah, everything's looking pretty good, guys. That's pretty much it. All right, let's move on to the news segment of things. I'm gonna start with some Nvidia stuff. Morgan, I don't know why they say Morgan. What's that mean? If Nvidia only meets expectations but doesn't blow past them, let's see. It'll be a disappointment. Let's see what they got to say over here on CNBC television. Let's do it, guys. That like button. Appreciate you for hanging out.
When you look at it, it looks kind of odd, but I want to ask you, estimates are for data center revenue, really the key metric that drives the NVIDIA stock, to increase by 398% this quarter. There's also the whisper numbers that it could be even higher. Is 398%, is that good enough? If it's only 390, is that not good enough? I mean, look at this tremendous growth.
Yeah, you're right, Frank. I mean, coming into this quarter, I believe the top line whisper number on overall revenues is roughly about $26 billion. You know, you look at that data center group, you're looking at that quarter-over-quarter growth. If you go and just look at it for this coming fiscal year or for NVIDIA, that number is expected to go from about $45 billion to over $90 billion in terms of total revenues. And we know, Frank, from the past that the real growth, as you know, has been coming from the data center group opposed to gaming. They have software, they have automotive and some other segments, but that's really where the AI has really been driving NVIDIA's growth. And, you know, it's a huge number, but they seem to have been beating it over the last, 3 or 4 quarters.
Oh, but you didn't answer, Dan. So, I mean, is there something on the line here if it just falls just a little bit short? Does NVIDIA need to blow this number out in your mind, or is just a good report good enough at this point because expectations are so high?
Yeah, you're right, Frank. I mean, you know, the consensus number, obviously they would, you know, have to beat that, and you know everyone's hoping that they're actually going to raise again going into the upcoming quarter. So I think just achieving the number at this point would be viewed somewhat as a disappointment.
Wow. A lot of implications when it comes to that. We've been talking about it really all week long. The fact that I think it's a 9%, just about a 9% move is implied here. So that could be a $200 billion market cap swing either way. One other thing I want to talk to you about, report yesterday. Important to note, Amazon denied this report, but there was a report in the FT that Amazon was changing plans to order NVIDIA's super chip to await updated model. Again, Amazon denied this one, but I do want to ask you, is this a risk for NVIDIA going forward? That maybe, is it possible that other companies may actually do this?
Well, it's interesting, Frank, because, you know, I saw that news that came out in regards to Amazon that they're going to foretell ordering the Hopper series, which is their existing series for the new Blackwell chip, and you know, whether this is something that's going to lead to other customers opting for this move. And you know, up to this point, Frank, we have not seen a huge drawback in terms of order growth, especially for the Hopper 100, which is their key A1 chip. You know what would really concern me, Frank, is if we started to see announcements coming out of some of these big megatech companies like Amazon and Microsoft and Meta, where they're opting for their organic chips that they generate. Right. Sure, you reported on your show, like Amazon has their Graviton and their Trainium chips opposed to an NVIDIA chip. But even if they were to opt for the Blackwell that's expected to come out, some people say maybe in October. What does that do, Frank? That just uploads for the upcoming calendar year, fourth quarter and first quarter 25 to have stellar growth out of NVIDIA related to Blackwell.
You know,
so they seem to win on either front.
You know, this stock has so much momentum. We're talking about a possible air pocket and maybe a slowdown in sales, and you're like laughing, like, they'll just come back later. Talk about momentum for a stock. So here's something I want to ask you about. Liz Ann Saunders from Schwab actually said this yesterday on our air. So the blended EPS for the tech sector in Q1, 24%. But if you take NVIDIA out of there, it's only 11%. Just giving you a sense of just how important NVIDIA is. Those are the numbers. But I want to talk to you about the sentiment. If NVIDIA, if it only just kind of meets expectations, we don't get that raise that you say that you believe that investors want to see, what does that mean for the sentiment just around mega cap tech, the AI trade, et cetera?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this quarter, we haven't got all the numbers in. You said 24%. I had 20% in terms of tech growth. And, you know, if you look at the semiconductors within technology, this quarter we're expected to grow earnings at 71%. And you're right, Frank, a big part of that number would be coming from NVIDIA. So, you know, this is the poster child for AI. It's the poster child for chips. We will get some numbers later on in the next upcoming weeks from the likes of Broadcom and some others. But, you know, and Micron, a report to close down the cycle. But, yeah, you're right. This is a huge number. It's, you know, it's a show me stock in the not only tech area, but also in chips as a whole. So any disappointment obviously would you know, raise concerns about the recovery in the chip space on a bigger front.
All right, shout out to jeez, that was gonna get real loud. All right, let's see real quick. Crypto KJ, thank you for this in the chat. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETPs garner approval on London Stock Exchange. Look at that. In a notable advance for cryptocurrency investments in the UK, Wisdom Tree has been granted approval by the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA, to list two physically backed cryptocurrency exchange traded products, ETPs, on the London Stock Exchange. Look at that, man. Perfect. That's amazing. Hell yeah, dude. Maybe we will get the freaking Ethereum ETF tomorrow. Damn, I guess we'll have to see. All right, Fund Strats Global Advisor Tom Lee at CNBC Financial Advisor Summit 2023. Guys, that like button, appreciate you for hanging out. I don't know what's going on with the numbers in chat, but it shows 8 people here. And I know that's not true because it's more than 8 of you talking. So something's off. But anyways, all right, let's watch this and then we're going to get into all the Ethereum news and stuff. Let's do it.
As Tyler mentioned, you've been a long-time bull and you've been riding this pain trade higher well. So congratulations on the call, Tom. But based on what the Fed said yesterday, which is a possibility of 2 more hikes, 3 members of the committee saying possibly 6% is where they see rates could be headed. Does your view change, moderate at all?
Well, I mean, I think investors...
All right, correction. Credit to Dan for the last link. I mean, the article we just read, but shout out to Crypto KJ for finding it.
Just have to be cognizant of one thing, which is the Fed doesn't have a crystal ball into the future. So what we're seeing is the Fed's preferred roadmap, including those who want to get to 6% in the face of what they see as existing inflation. I think over the past few months, I think what investors are realizing is many Fed members are looking at CPI and Taylor rule models and arguing that we need to be much tighter. But when you look at forward-looking measures of inflation, those are going to come down sharply. And I think investors are concluding that's going to change the mind of the Fed. So I think there are 2 hikes. It's definitely herding the cats in the room. But I think one of the things I would just note is that the Fed can change its path, and I think that's, you know, why I almost think the Fed gave a green light for stocks to rally into the end of the year.
It almost sounds like you think that the Fed might not go through, that this was a lot of jawboning. I mean, if you're saying that the Fed can change its path and you think that inflation's going to come down much sooner, it sounds like maybe you think that they're not going to actually end up going through with 2 more hikes.
Well, I mean, Melissa, yeah, there's a lot of reasons I think this. I mean, one, you know, in November 2022, I don't know if you guys remember when someone had asked the Fed during the press conference about the stock market rallying, Powell visibly flinched and became uncomfortable, and then the tone of that meeting turned immediately hawkish. In yesterday's press conference, there was no attempt by Powell to try to talk about tightening financial conditions, or he's uncomfortable that FANG's up 60% this year. And I think the reason being is I think the Fed understands that stocks and economic resilience is not really causing the inflationary pressures. In fact, as we know, wage pressures are diminishing. and there are still some supply side issues, which you mentioned. Those work its way through. So there's, I think, a growing realization at the Fed that inflation could be taken care of itself without only monetary policy response. And of course, we know there's been a tightening of financial conditions because of the bank stress. So I think it's a Fed that's turning more patient because they're at the level they're comfortable with. And I think too many think the Fed is trying to create a hard landing. And I think it's evident that they don't want a hard landing now.
Okay, so where do you see this? A couple of months ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, you said 20% higher for the S&P 500. Does that stand at this point? And is it today's leadership that carries us to that point?
Yeah, our view is that we approach all-time highs again this year. I know it sounded preposterous when we said that in December, but the roadmap we see in the second half getting there is that FANG's done a lot of the heavy lifting. Believe it or not, compared to a year ago, FANG is up almost 60%. So to get to all-time highs, you just need the other 493 stocks to show some semblance of multiple expansion. That group is trading at 15 times. So we think there's going to be a pretty dramatic expansion of market breadth in the second half of this year, and that's going to help get us another 400 points in the S&P to 4,800.
Do you think that this is a kind of
Thought it was over. That threw me off.
spending cycle where it will happen no matter what? I mean, maybe to varying degrees, but this is sort of a in good times and in bad times sort of investment thesis.
Yeah, YouTube's clearly having an issue. Concurrent viewers, it's saying 6, but yeah, there's more than 6 of you chatting, so I know that's not right.
Yeah,
Something's wrong today.
Right now, there probably is a little bit of FOMO at companies because they're worried about an arms race that's developing among their competitors if others are investing in AI. But eventually that is a zero-sum game in the sense that unless AI grows the end market for a business, it has to only be justified by saving cost. So I think you're in that phase where it's 1 + 1 = 3 spending, but eventually it has to be subtractive to spending, otherwise it's not going to create value.
Subtractive to spending meaning that companies will opt to spend on this, and there are going to be other areas where there are cuts. So there are going to be winners and losers, and the losers may be not necessarily the ones that don't gain the share in the AI race, but other categories entirely where corporations are just not going to spend. That's
exactly right. It's I mean, to me, it's no different than how wireless supplanted the wireline industry, how gaming essentially ate a lot of the economics of the media business. I think AI is going to replace some industries and some job categories.
Of course
but
it is.
Parts of AI will also generate more revenues. It's just, that's going to be harder to actually invest in today.
Tom Lee, the AI robot himself, was just glitching out. You hear that? Hey, Max, by the way.
Eat shit, Gary.
Worst friend ever. Good morning, Geek of all trades. Good to see you, buddy. All right, let's get into this. Ethereum surges on hopes of spot ETF approval. Listen, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here, right? So if Ethereum ETF is pushed back, man, I don't know. There's so many things here when it comes to pushing innovation out of this country, and there's so much stuff that runs on the Ethereum network that we're just gonna kill it. So I don't know. They might be in a real tough place where we might have to get it approved. I don't know. Let's see what it says over here on Yahoo Finance, and then there's a few other clips I want to watch too. Let's do it.
The number 2 trending ticker on Yahoo Finance right now, it's one that doesn't always make an appearance. Ethereum, fresh optimism about the Securities and Exchange Commission approving spot Ethereum ETFs ahead of
and then there's also the the fight they had with the Bitcoin ETF, right? They have the futures, so the same argument there. Ethereum futures already exist, so
first deadline later this week. And joining us now is Bitwise Asset Management CIO Matt Hogan. Matt, it's great to see you. You guys, of course, have an application in for an Ethereum ETF. You got your spot Bitcoin ETF approved along with the others earlier this year. So I know that you're also encouraged by some other developments in Washington, which we'll get to in a second. But I do want to ask about this first and what you guys are hearing and how close you think it might be.
Absolutely. It's great to be here, Julie. This has been a big change. I think last week, the betting markets on Polymarket had about a 10% odds of seeing a spot ETH approval. And now those odds are up above 80% by the end of the year.
That's
so the market is
crazy.
voting that this is likely. We're seeing that as issuers update their 19B4 applications. It's not a guarantee that we're going to get to approval, but it looks a lot more likely than it did last week. And you're seeing that reflected in the price and the fact that the ticker is trending there on Yahoo.
And Matt, you think about Gary Gensler and how, listen, Matt, he didn't want a spot Bitcoin ETF. There was a lawsuit. I mean, do you think there ultimately is going to have to be a lawsuit to see a spot Ethereum product?
I thought that might be the case, but it looks like common sense might prevail. We already have Bitcoin futures ETFs, and we got a spot Bitcoin ETF. We have Ethereum futures ETFs, and now the market is pricing in the likelihood that we'll get a spot Ethereum ETF. And I think the important thing to remember is look at what the Bitcoin ETF accomplished. It dramatically lowered costs. It made it safer and more regulated to access Bitcoin. Those are wins for investors. I thought we might need a lawsuit, but I do think common sense is going to win out here. And I think that would be great if it does.
What changed, Matt? I mean, there's been some reporting here that the Securities and Exchange Commission has now sent out requests for comments or follow-up requests to some of the firms. Have you guys gotten a follow-up request from the SEC? And why do you think that they did this all of a sudden? I mean, it seems, as you said, what's reflected in the markets, pricing this in, it's changed pretty quickly.
Yeah, obviously, I can't speak to our specific filing because it's live at the SEC, but you are seeing issuers update their filings. Bitwise certainly plans to be competitive in this market. I think it's a little bit what you hinted at the top of the segment, which is there's been a real sea change in Washington around crypto. We saw the first piece of comprehensive crypto or positive crypto legislation pass both houses of Congress with the SAB 121 reversal. We're seeing a coalition, a bipartisan coalition emerging around stablecoins. It looks like Washington has gotten the message that crypto is good for America and that it's popular with American voters. And I think that's trickling through into different parts of policy. I don't know that that's specifically what's driven this change around Ethereum, but I think it's hard to look at what's happening in DC and not see a change taking place in multiple areas, including in the ETF market.
I'm interested, Matt. You're talking there a lot about what's going on.
You know what? I do have it stuck at 1.25 from yesterday.
On the nation's.
I was like, what the hell's everybody fucking smoking crack this morning? Everyone's on speed. I totally forgot. Apparently, my settings saved from yesterday. That's funny.
Capital and with this upcoming election, I am curious to get your sense of how much you think crypto is going to be an issue. You can see Trump, of course, really positioning himself as a fan to the crypto faithful. I think it's fair to say that GOP broadly has become kind of just more friendly, Matt, to the asset class. Do you see crypto, in fact, during this election becoming this kind of ideological dividing line?
I was like, damn, I thought it was just me that was excited.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an important factor. I know that sounds crazy to some people. How could something as relatively small as crypto influence something so massive as the US election? But remember that there are very close contests in many congressional races and indeed for the presidency. Handfuls of thousands of voters can really swing things. And there are a lot of people who deeply care about crypto. I think what you're trying to see is the Democratic Party move more towards the center on crypto, embrace it as part of America's future. And that's positive. So I do think it is a major factor. I think the other major factor is traditional Wall Street now wants to participate in the gold rush that is the crypto market. So I think you're seeing some lobbying forces from Wall Street move the political discussion, and you're seeing the growing political influence of crypto shape the nation's politics a little bit in those close markets. I think it's a game changer for the crypto industry. I think it's going to push us to new all-time highs.
Matt, real quickly, who's better for the crypto industry, Biden or Trump?
Why do they keep pulling this shit into it? I know it's like political kind of, but like, goddamn, it's like every single news article is talking about that.
Look, I think crypto can thrive in any environment. I think the worst possible outcome for crypto would be a Democratic sweep of both houses of Congress and the presidency. But absent that, a mixed market either way, I think it's going to be a good 4 years for crypto.
They always put like the guests on the spot like that. Like it's kind of a shitty move, to be honest. Just puts you like, you know what I mean? You just don't want to have to deal with that. Ivan made a good point in the chat. He said, I always thought it was dumb that the US would kill crypto when they hold so much. And that's very true, because they have all that Mount Gox and all that shit that they've stolen from people that stole money on, Silk Road. Like that guy that went to jail, he had like a whole bunch of Bitcoin. They just took it from him and they're like, thanks, bro. You can go to jail for a year. We're just going to take your Bitcoin. We'll call it even. Anyways, but yeah, they're still holding a lot of that stuff, man. All right, crypto prices will be much higher if Democrats shift stance on crypto, and I think this is a very enticing title. Let's see what they got to say.
Listen, ETH is a lot higher in the last 24 hours on speculation that the ETF is coming. Step back a little bit. What seems to have happened is, Donald Trump 2 weeks ago got on stage and said, "I'm the crypto president." And it was on the same day that Joe Biden had threatened to veto a relatively obscure piece of legislation that the SEC had put through, a rule on accounting, saying that crypto assets in custody needed to be held on balance sheet. And that kind of set off a firestorm where it almost became a purity test, like Republican, good for crypto, Democrat, bad for crypto. And I think the Democratic regime woke up and saying, this is crazy, right? There are more crypto owners in America than there are dog owners, right? We have 85 million people that own crypto, and a lot of them are single issue voters. And the Democrats looked like they were the party against dogs. And so you've seen a pretty dramatic change. First of all, you had 9 senators cross the aisle and 21 congressmen on the SAB 21, and so that's passed, the repeal of that, and it'll go to Biden's desk. We'll see if he vetoes it or not. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, what seems to be a complete about-face with the SEC on the ETH ETF. And, listen, I don't have any inside info other than talking to people in the markets, and we'll see. We do have an ETF in registrations. I got to be a little bit careful. But assuming, the market is right, and the market's usually pretty smart, it feels like someone at the Biden White House made a call and said, guys, we can't be the party against crypto anymore. And I think that's a seismic shift, because if those things actually happen, prices are going to be much higher than here.
So you're speculating that a phone call was made from the White House to Gary Gensler's office, and Gary Gensler, who has, for the most part, as you know, been relatively opposed to these instruments. In fact, he was opposed to the Bitcoin ETF until a court told him otherwise. You think he's going to do it, quote unquote, voluntarily, or maybe pseudo-voluntarily, if in fact the president's telling him otherwise?
I am sensing a widespread shift amongst Democrats that don't want to let crypto be a big election issue, right? The crypto super PACs have raised over $150 million, and they've targeted Sherrod Brown and John Tester, elections that matter dearly to Democrats in swing states, in vulnerable Senate seats. Crypto should be bipartisan. And quite frankly, for our industry to do well, it needs to be bipartisan. And it has been really Elizabeth Warren and a small group of people that has kind of held the Democrats hostage on this. And what the Senate broadly said, Chuck Schumer, being the Senate leader who voted to overturn against Elizabeth, was enough. Like, this is becoming dumb. And Mike, so I'm sensing a real shift.
You talk about you talk about the industry doing this as if they're separate from you. You've been a big supporter over the years of President Biden. I don't know if you still are, but how much are you part of this effort?
Listen, I've had a real view that this needs to be bipartisan. So I have been meeting with Democrats and Republicans equally, trying to both educate. On the Democratic side, I've been trying to talk sense. I was like, guys, this could be the biggest own goal of the last 6 years. There is no reason to make crypto, which is a technology, a political issue. And I think hopefully that message is starting to resonate.
Crazy. Shout out to Mike Novogratz. All right, let's move on over here. This is the Congressman Tom Emmer, Representative Tom Emmer, right? Majority Whip Tom Emmer joins Charles Payne. Let's see what he's got to say over here. This is I think this is either a secondhand recording or something, but it's a little fuzzy. So anyways, let's get into it.
Oh, my next guest is known as the champion of crypto. That's on Capitol Hill. In fact, he's got 2 crypto bills hitting the floor this week. The Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, or FIT 21, would offer some market structure, clear rules for digital firms. It has the backing of the crypto exchanges, so Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, they're all on board. I'm going to bring in now House Majority Whip, Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer. Representative Emmer, let's though. I want to begin with this CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, because I love you mince no words, right? You're saying Central bank digital currency is not open. It's not permissionless. It's private. It's nothing more than a big government surveillance tool, and that it's you know. I'm curious though. How do your colleagues feel about it? How many of your colleagues agree with you on this, and are they ready to fight?
Well, I mean, 2-3 years ago, I would have said I felt like I was yelling into the woods. Today, I think you've got Republicans and Democrats alike who understand what we're dealing with. You can just, all you have to do is look at the Communist Party of China, or the Chinese Communist Party with the digital yuan, Charles. They literally are using that to track their citizens' purchases, their behaviors, and they are building social scores, which people can be evaluated on for different things in this country, for insurance, etc.
That's exactly why CBDCs are a bad idea. That's crazy.
We do not need, nor do we want, something that is inconsistent with our values. In this country, we believe in a person's right to self-determine. We believe in a person's right to privacy and be able to do business with whomever they want to do business with. That is not what a central bank digital currency would do. What we've simply said in this bill is until our government can actually show us that it can emulate cash, be open, permissionless, and private with a capital P, Charles, you should not be creating any central bank digital currency through whatever part of the government, whether that's the Treasury or the Fed, whoever.
Right.
That's what it says. And it also requires them to come to Congress.
Can we just get this guy as a president? Anybody? Anybody vote for him, please?
For an authorization if there comes a day that they think this is something they want to do.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
and I think the answer, though, to that is that it does the exact opposite, and by design. You know, I do find it interesting because you're absolutely right. You were alone in the wilderness on this not long ago. About 10 days ago, a week ago, on the same day that the Biden administration really has been really harsh on cryptocurrency, and a lot of famous Dems like Elizabeth Warren, President Trump, former President Trump, came out in favor of it. And I feel like ever since that day, many Dems have also shifted their position. I mean, listen, a lot of young voters are saying this is the kind of freedom I want, and I'll vote for the person that gives me this freedom.
Well, they don't call it the central government for just because it's the central government. Whether it's Elizabeth Warren, the White House, what they are doing is trying to protect the central in central government. They want a centralized, control-based, top-down system. And what crypto is doing is it's literally creating decentralization. And that's why that FIT 21 bill, the market structure bill, is going to be so important because they included our Securities Clarity Act. There were two things that really concerned me there. Well, three. One, I want to have the rules of the road. We have to stop pushing innovation off our shores. The way you bring people in so you don't experience the FTX problem that we had where they feel like they have to create their business offshore is you create clear, simple playing rules that everybody understands so that they will keep the innovation in this country and they will develop the next generation of the web right here. The other thing, we wanted to delineate what the supervision, the oversight, the regulator was going to be in what circumstance. And then the biggest one for me, you got to be able to move from a centralized system to decentralized because a project can start as a centralized, but then ultimately it can develop into a decentralized network, and that's what we're really looking for.
I got 30 seconds. I got to ask you, within the party, there's talk of, of the new economic vision being rewritten, obviously. President Trump is the candidate for your party. A lot of your colleagues have left in the last couple of years. There's definitely a division between old school GOP thinking and this newer GOP thinking. How are you fitting there?
Well, it's time to move the financial system, which is the definition of our freedom in this country, into the 21st century, Charles. And that's what this is all about. It's literally taking a situation where today you need intermediaries for everything you do and giving you the opportunity to have peer-to-peer business in the future. Intermediaries aren't going to go away, but you and I are going to be able to make decisions that are most important to you and I based on holding our own data and making the calls right now that other people are making.
There's a reason you're in a majority whip. You're really sharp there. We got to pick this conversation up one day, but we ran out of time.
Dude, shout out to Tom Emmer. That's freaking crazy. That's insane. Guys, if you're not subbed to him, he has 2.2 1,000 subs. I'm gonna put a link to his channel. So like he puts anytime he does like anything with just news stuff or speaking at all, like he does just, you know, he basically reposts his stuff on his channel. So pretty neat. Definitely deserves some, I guess, a shout out. So go check him out if you guys are interested. All right, moving on. Crypto World, CNBC Television here. Uniswap urges SEC to drop potential enforcement actions in new filing. Let's see what they got to say over here. Let's do it.
Today, Ether rockets more than 20% amid hopes that spot Ether ETFs will be approved this week.
Perfect.
Uniswap responds to the SEC's Wells notice in a new filing. And PitchBook's Robert Lay unpacks the firm's latest crypto VC report, which revealed funding rose to $2.4 billion in Q1.
Damn.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Talia Kaplan. Major cryptocurrencies surging overnight as investors grow more confident that spot Ether ETFs could get approved this week. Ether rallied a whopping 21% in the past day, now just shy of $3,800. Bitcoin also got a big boost, as high as $71,000 for the first time in more than a month.
Perfect.
By noon, though, it retreated back to around $69,000. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of the gains in the past day came from new optimism that the SEC will give the green light to spot Ether ETFs. Experts were previously more skeptical that these ETFs would get the go-ahead, considering the SEC's uncertain stance on Ether as a security or commodity. But
real quick, I want to see, I just killed the poll in the chat. I wanted to see what you guys thought Ethereum's price is going to go to. You guys think it's going to stay between 3 and 5K? 46% of you. Interesting.
Reuters reports that the agency is asking applicants to fine-tune their proposals for spot Ether ETFs, a sign that the SEC could be willing to consider these investment products.
See, that's the most interesting part of this. They asked them to fine-tune their Ether filings, or the ETF filings for Ethereum, right? That's I don't know. That makes me think that it might get approved, to be honest.
Now, we asked the SEC about that report, and a spokesperson said it doesn't comment on individual filings.
Yeah, Crypto KJ, good point. Fine-tuning, aka remove staking part. Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong, because there was, what was it? There was a couple companies that actually did remove the staking part, right? And there was actually there was a couple articles on that. I don't remember who it was. I forget.
And as that story from Reuters
here it
came
is,
out,
right here, Fidelity. Exactly, that's the one I was thinking of.
Another report, this time from CoinDesk, pointed out that Fidelity amended its Ether ETF filing to remove staking as a feature of the fund.
There it is.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Uniswap just filed an official response to a Wells notice it received from the SEC last month. That letter warned Uniswap that the agency identified potential violations of U.S. securities law. Now, a Wells notice gives the recipient of a letter a chance to respond and explain why legal action is unwarranted. And in this 40-page filing, Uniswap Labs details to the SEC all the reasons why the agency should not pursue the case against them, including that none of the lab's conduct runs afoul of the securities laws. The filing says the SEC alleged Uniswap Labs is operating an unregistered exchange, but that the allegation is, quote, meritless given no securities transactions take place on the protocol. Uniswap's chief legal officer said that the SEC's entire case rests on the false assumption that all tokens are securities and that, quote, tokens are in fact simply a file format for value. Now, I spoke with Uniswap's chief operating officer, Mary Catherine Latter, just after the company filed its response to the Wells notice. Here's what she had to say. Uniswap Labs took a big step this afternoon, filing an official response to the Wells notice the company received from the SEC last month. Now, in the filing, Uniswap details all the reasons why the agency should not pursue legal action. Now, I read through the response, and in it, Uniswap argues that it's not operating an unregistered exchange and that none of the lab's conduct goes against securities laws. What is the key argument you're making in this case, and what was the main point you were trying to get across to the SEC?
Talia, thanks for having me. So Uniswap Labs is a New York City-based startup. We build software on top of blockchains that lets users hold their own assets and interact with each other directly using tokens. And so there's a core assumption in what the SEC is asserting, which is that anything that's a digital file format, anything that's represented as a token on Ethereum is a security. It's kind of akin to saying a PDF is a stock certificate. And so their arguments against us, we think, extend their remit to communications and internet protocols and well beyond the remit of just securities to all forms of digital assets potentially. So if you read through the response as you did, we go through just the definition of a securities exchange, of a securities broker, of an investment contract, and simply just compare the legal definitions to the facts of the Uniswap protocol, of the products that we build that they're asserting are brokers, and then go through it. And it doesn't match up. And so this is a case of the SEC trying to rewrite the rules and then enforce them as they go, well outside the boundaries of today's law.
She does have some crazy eyes. I see you guys saying that in the chat. Yeah, that's the first thing I thought too.
Now, in the filing, Uniswap Labs outlines some of the risks of carrying out legal action against your company, noting that bringing this case would, quote, encourage Americans to use harder to regulate foreign interfaces and trading protocols, while also discouraging future innovations from attempting to foster new ideas that bring much needed competition and innovation to financial and commercial markets. What are some of the other risks associated with the SEC's approach of regulation by enforcement, specifically as it relates to your company?
Well, there are millions of users who use our products, and the products fill a need. They allow people to transact with stablecoins or Ether, Bitcoin, and other assets that the SEC has indicated are not securities. And so those users will then potentially use other interfaces that could be offered by those who are not operating in broad daylight in New York City and trying to understand the law and comply with it. And so that just exposes, in today's instantly digital and global markets, the fact that you can have markets on the internet means that users in the US can access products from all over the world. And that has more risks associated potentially. So we would much prefer to have clear rules of the road in the United States and be able to interact with US users with knowing what the expectations are of us. So that's what I'm concerned about, is that it encourages companies to go offshore. It enables actors who don't have names and faces and who aren't engaging with policymakers, and that has all sorts of potential risks. Uniswap has never been hacked. We take security incredibly seriously, and that's a security track record that we're extremely proud of. If you're interacting with an anonymous team, you don't know what their security track record is, and that poses a real risk to a user.
Expanding on what you just said, in the filing, Uniswap argues that policy questions should primarily be reserved for Congress. Well, this week, the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, which is aimed at creating a regulatory regime for U.S. crypto markets, is expected to receive a vote on the House floor. How will that development impact your business, and what are you hoping happens with that bill?
What I'm really excited about in this bill is that this would prevent something like an FTX. So it basically addresses centralized exchanges and those crypto intermediaries that do hold assets on behalf of users. Uniswap, in contrast, does not hold assets on behalf of users. If you interact with Uniswap products, you hold your assets yourself.
Facts.
So the bill itself recognizes that decentralized blockchain technology is very, very different from centralized blockchain technology, that it doesn't actually have some of the same risks to users. You aren't entrusting your digital assets to someone else. And so what I'm excited about with this bill is two things. First, I'm excited that it recognizes that critical consumer risk in centralized exchanges. Two, that it allows for more time and examination of decentralized technology. And then a third, it's just encouraging to see bipartisan support for a dialogue. It's encouraging to see Congress do what they're supposed to do, which is engage with new topics and shape policy through debate, discussion, and a vote.
Now, we reached out to the SEC, and a spokesperson told us that the agency does not comment on the existence or non-existence of a possible investigation. All right, turning to crypto venture capital funding for our other story. PitchBook data out yesterday revealed that startup funding rose for a second straight quarter to hit $2.4 billion in the first 3 months of the year, amid expectations of lower interest rates and the debut of spot Bitcoin ETFs here in the U.S. The rise in funding that began last quarter marked the first time that VC investments in crypto startups have risen since the March quarter of 2022. So what's behind the shift in funding? Crypto World's Mackenzie Sagalos sat down with PitchBook's crypto analyst Robert Lay right here in studio yesterday to find out. They discussed the report's findings and what we can expect in the months to come.
New data out today from PitchBook looking at crypto VC activity The thing that stands out to me is that it seems that so much of the money is going into the infrastructure space and DeFi. So many, so much less VC dollars going into that category. Why is that?
Yeah, so infrastructure has been a theme, really over the last year and a half, really through the bear market and now this year as well, continuing seeing a lot of, blockchains, layer 1s and layer 2s, interoperability protocols and all that, just because the way investors look at it is that the infrastructure is still pretty underdeveloped, and they think that in order for us to get to the scale and the throughput that we need to support, the billions of users that they're hoping that's going to come into the crypto ecosystem, we really need the infrastructure to become much, much better. DeFi is a little bit different, just because a lot of users left, during the bear market. We're starting to see users starting to come back into DeFi. TVL, which is a measure that we use, it's called total value locked, that just to see traction in the DeFi space, that has gone up a lot. So we could see DeFi investments come. But another interesting aspect is that a lot of DeFi protocols raise money through token sales. So they sell tokens to the community, private token sales, public token sales. So they don't necessarily need to raise venture capital. So because they're not raising venture capital, you really don't see that recorded in the data amount of VC raised for DeFi.
Anecdotally in the space, some people feel as though DeFi hasn't lived up to some of the promises. There's this, lack of understanding of actual real-world use cases that make sense. Is that part of the narrative here?
Partly too. We've seen. Look, we think DeFi is an interesting space because there are unique use cases for financial services. The challenge is that what we've seen with DeFi over the last, let's say 4 to 5 years, is that it's just a lot of crypto traders trading to other crypto users. So we're looking at what are the non-crypto use cases for DeFi. And there are a lot, tokenization, this is a trend that we've been talking about for quite a while. The infrastructure, I think, of DeFi, there could be a lot of use cases for traditional financial services. We just haven't seen that come to scale yet. But, there are a lot of protocols that are building. We look at protocols like Maker, who are doing, it's a decentralized borrow and lending protocol, but they're working on tokenizing off-chain assets on-chain. So, they work with a lot of traditional banks already that are tokenizing their receivables, for instance. So you're starting to see some of that come on. We know JP Morgan used Uniswap to do a test trade of tokenized government securities in late 2022. So we're starting to see testing and use cases coming along, but it's, obviously a lot slower than we expect, but you can expect to see more of those come in the DeFi space.
Yeah, and BlackRock recently tokenizing money market funds. Yep. And that kind of goes to this larger question. So Bitcoin spot ETFs are here. We'll get a decision on the Ether spot ETFs, but from a macroeconomic viewpoint, those aren't moving the needle with respect to VC investments coming back to the crypto space. It's showing up perhaps in the price of Bitcoin being north of 60K and touching all-time highs in March. But what needs to happen, broadly speaking, in order to bring that capital back into the ecosystem, the kind of capital that we saw during the last bull run?
It's going to be difficult to say that we're going to get the same amount of capital invested as we did in 2021, maybe early 22, but it's coming back. Just in Q1 alone, quarter-over-quarter investments is roughly around 40% for both deal value and deal count. So that's a huge increase from quarter-over-quarter. And so obviously a lot of that momentum was driven by the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. But also a lot of investors were sitting on the sidelines over the last year and a half or so. They've raised, if you look at crypto native venture funds, they raised a large amount of capital in 2021 and 2022 that has not been deployed yet. And so I think at this point now, the sentiment has changed and investors are getting more comfortable making investments. So, I think the $2.4 billion that you saw invested in Q1, that's probably going to be the low watermark for the year. And so I think that's going to continue to increase.
And that's interesting. You kind of draw out this comparison between crypto native VC funds versus something like a A16Z or Andreessen more broadly. or even Sequoia getting into crypto-related ventures. And I bring this up because this idea of tourist capital, you know, kind of, I feel as though everyone flooded from anything related to blockchain into AI. But that's not necessarily a good thing, because at least from what I've seen, if you've got this like tourist capital flooding into a space, perhaps it's not being deployed to the best companies in the best ways. You get prices, you get companies that are overvalued, and if you have a blow up there, it embarrasses the entire sector. So how do you think there's actually a net benefit to seeing money leave the space and having focused VCs that are crypto native, making more deliberate investments, even if the deal values are nowhere near what they used to be in 2021?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, crypto native VCs like this, investing in this environment better, because you don't have to compete as much to get into a deal. And even for founders, maybe you don't get the valuations that you would like to have, like these high valuations that we had 2 years ago, but you do, or 3 years ago, but you do get investors who are much smarter, who can not only give you capital, but can also help you, you know, deploy infrastructure, help you with staking, whatever it is. So you get more expert investors on your cap table. So even though you don't get those valuations, it's still a pretty decent time. The thing is, if crypto continues to go up and we're in this full-blown bull market, the tourist investors are going to come back, right? Because like we said, crypto winter, we're probably in crypto spring now. Once it's summertime, everyone's coming back. Everyone's on vacation. All the tourists are here. So, you know, I think, you know, we've seen that in a couple cycles now for crypto, right? And so you're right. A lot of the money that you see right now is the crypto native VCs, and it's not, you know, generalist investors or crossover funds or any of that. But, you know, at some point they will return.
Okay, that's
Make sure you guys get ready for it. All right, let's move on to videos. Just gonna watch Altcoin Daily's video. I do have another one. What the hell? I thought that was Bam Margera. The real reason cryptocurrency is going up. Well, we already know the real reason, but let's see what kind of BS we're gonna hear today. Let's do it.
Ethereum is trending. What's happening? Is it up or down? Oh, Ethereum is up, guys. Crypto is back.
Damn. Let's fucking go.
Ethereum.
Oh, it's up 14%. Wow, today. That's crazy.
What's going on?
14.
What's happening right now?
That's pretty crazy.
That's insane, you guys.
It's 14.
Crypto is so back.
Crypto is back in a huge way, with Ethereum leading the charge. Bloomberg ETF analysts and experts of all kinds now say spot Ethereum ETF approval this week is likely.
That's tomorrow, by the way. Also, Dan R, forgot to say it in the chat, said, I just got a whale alert. Someone bought $1 trillion. Wait, no. Is that a trillion? 1,000 million? No, billion. Sorry, $1 billion in USDT. Jeez, almost screwed that one up.
What are the tea leaves that you're reading here, James?
That's nuts, though. A lot of USDT.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've had these filings to spot Ethereum ETFs for months, since the fall even, and nothing over the last couple months signified to us that there was any sort of approval. If you talk to these issuers, exchanges, you name it, no one thought it was going to happen. And then we started hearing from different people yesterday that the SEC reached out with comments and requesting immediate, basically, responses and updates to filings. The deadline for this was Thursday. It's May 23rd. And the SEC was basically silent, not interacting with anyone on these topics until yesterday, which tells us this was a huge change. So basically, the SEC decided as of Monday, when they reached out to issuers, we don't know exactly when it started, late morning, early afternoon, who knows. But the SEC basically started saying, all right, we're likely gonna approve these things, and basically took the approval odds out of the abyss as far as we were concerned.
And therefore, you've moved your spot Ether ETF likelihood, probability to 75% from just 25%.
If we have both a Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF approved, that would be a huge sign that crypto in the US is being embraced. It's okay to buy, it's okay to build. To know where we're headed, we need to understand how we got here. What were the series of events leading up to this? The first sign was what? Wall Street investors Fred Krueger and Andrew Parrish explain.
What led up to this? I mean, the first sign was what?
To me, the first sign was the announcement by the former chairman of Grayscale, Barry Silbert, that he had removed Michael Sonnenschein and immediately installed Peter Mintzberg as the CEO of Grayscale. That happened at like 8:30 in the morning.
Michael Sonnenschein has stepped down as CEO of Grayscale after a decade on the job. The company announced that Peter Mintzberg, the global head of strategy for Goldman Sachs' asset and wealth management division, will take over. Mintzberg previously worked at BlackRock, Oppenheimer Funds, and Invesco. In a statement, Sonnenschein said the crypto asset class is at an important inflection point, and this is the right moment for a smooth transition. I wish the Grayscale team every success in its next chapter.
The person that was installed as the Grayscale new CEO is a former Goldman, former BlackRock. Okay, so BlackRock is going to have a huge Ethereum ETF. Goldman is an authorized participant on Bitcoin ETFs with BlackRock, and I'm certain will be with Ethereum ETFs. So there's another couple dots connected. Moments after that, you had the Bloomberg ETF guys saying we've gone from 25 to 75. And then about 2 hours later, you had an announcement from the New York AG's office that said, we've settled with Genesis, who again is directly tied to DCG and Grayscale, for $2 billion.
New York's Attorney General Letitia James is settling with bankrupt crypto lender Genesis for $2 billion. The deal does bar Genesis from operating in the state of New York and creates a victims fund for nearly 30,000 New York residents who gave more than $1 billion to Genesis through the Gemini Earn product.
You can't take a shit in New York. Nothing is allowed in New York.
So this is not
That's
pure
crazy.
market dynamics or pure market demand. This is not.
Right,
This-
right,
this
right.
This is political in nature, and you have elements of regulatory involved. You have elements of law enforcement involved. You have elements of politics involved.
And that's the key. This is political in nature. Joe Biden and Democrats could not stand around and let Donald Trump and Republicans soak up the clout, soak up the goodwill associated with being pro-crypto. Hey, real quick, let's take 90 seconds to...
No. Shilling this bullshit to me right now? No. Nope. Nope. Nope.
Remember, Donald Trump came out pro-crypto in a big way recently.
Yeah, with the goggles on.
A lot of the smartest people in crypto
I love how I call glasses goggles. It's so funny.
are moving their businesses out of the U.S. because they're scared of the U.S.'s regulations.
Because of the hostility.
Correct.
Yeah, crypto is moving out of the U.S. because of hostility toward crypto.
Correct. So what are you going to do to stop it?
Well, we'll stop it because I don't want that. I don't want that. I want that. If we're going to embrace it, we have to let them be here.
But crypto isn't a partisan issue. It shouldn't be partisan. Mike Novogratz explains the Democrats' pivot and strategy. Very interesting.
Listen, ETH is a lot higher in the last 24 hours on speculation that the ETF is coming. Step back a little bit. What seems to have happened is, Donald Trump 2 weeks ago got on stage and said, I'm the crypto president. And it was on the same day that Joe Biden had threatened to veto a relatively obscure piece of legislation that the SEC had put through, a rule on accounting, saying that crypto assets in custody needed to be held on balance sheet. And that kind of set off a firestorm where it almost became a purity test, like Republican, good for crypto, Democrat, bad for crypto. And I think the Democratic regime woke up and saying, this is crazy, right? There are more crypto owners in America than there are dog owners, right? We have 85 million people that own crypto, and a lot of them are single issue voters. And the Democrats looked like they were the party against dogs. And so you've seen a pretty dramatic change. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, what seems to be a complete about face with the SEC on the ETF. And, assuming, the market is right, and the market's usually pretty smart, it feels like someone at the Biden White House made a call and said, guys, we can't be the party against crypto anymore. And I think that
Because you're not going to win if we are. That's very much.
seismic shift. Because if those things actually happen, prices are going to be much higher than here.
Prices will certainly be a lot higher if the Ethereum ETF gets approved. Bitcoin rallied 75% in 63 days after the spot Bitcoin ETF was approved. If Ethereum follows the same trend, if approved, this would take it to $6,400 by July 23rd, and then $10,000, then higher. Of course, the bigger story here is that an Ethereum ETF approval would signal a crypto approval in the US. Altcoins are going to make a lot of people rich. With everything going on, guys, we're going to release some top altcoin videos soon. Anything we've released over the last 6 months, all these videos are still good. Definitely check out these videos when you get a chance. Like the last 6 months
Still
worth
early,
of
we
videos,
gotta pump our
so
bags.
much alpha. Make sure you watch. But we're about to enter a new paradigm for this cryptocurrency market. There's just so many catalysts that are about to make the next 6, 9, 11, 18 months some of the best for crypto investors in crypto history.
Yeah, look at that chart though. 2017, 2021. That's a crazy trend line. And if that's legit, it could be nuts.
I'm really excited, guys, and you should be too. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for daily
All right,
videos.
I'm just gonna chill the rest of the time. All right, anyways, we're gonna get into the recap segment of things. If you guys want, go check out Lark's video, top 5 crypto gaming coins. I'm not gonna play that though, because yeah, I don't think we need to. All right, recap in Bitcoin, 69,727 bucks. Got Ethereum at 3685. Everything is looking good, even though it's in the red as of right now, or pink rather. We have 13.5 cent Caspa. Hell yeah, a duke into that.
Perfect.
Let's see, Litecoin's down today. Sorry, Max, you can see that we got a plus here and a negative here. I know Max is still here. He's losing today. Not happy about it. All right, let's see what the biggest loser is of the day. Still looks like Lido is down the 12.4% to $2.05. Interesting. Arbitrum's down 9.2%, which is kind of neat. $1.11. Fear and Greed Index Flashbang is again 76. If anybody's paying attention to that, just be mindful, be greedy when people are fearful, and be fearful when people are greedy. Look at that. Let's see. We have a $111 billion market cap for USDT, and Mr. Dan R said we saw a whale alert for a purchase of $1 billion in USDT, which is kind of crazy. But you know what, if you think about it, right, looking at USDT, how it kind of goes under $1, like if you have that much money to throw into it when it's like right here, right, when it's 0.998, and you put $1 billion in and it goes up back even like tenths of a penny, you probably made a shit ton of money. Like for sure. But anyways, guys, all right, we're gonna be getting out of here. I appreciate you guys hanging out. You're all fantastic. We're gonna go raid Miss Randy Hipper. I got a bunch of stuff to do, you know, daddy duty calls. So hopefully you guys have a great day. I will catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and until then, peace out. Is that today, Crypto KJ? Happy Bitcoin Pizza Day.
Perfect.
Eat shit, Gary.